right, welcome. This has been some tough acts to follow, and there's still one more really great presentation to come. But I'm Emily Robinson, an interior designer at Ratio.
And I'm Annie Hollibaugh, also an interior designer.
And just a little background at Ratio, we are a multidisciplinary design firm, including architecture, interior design, landscape architecture, urban design, graphic design. We are one firm with 5 studios, and the largest one is in Indy. So one thing to keep in mind throughout this talk is that you can't divorce sustainability from design excellence. In our industry and within our firm, we talk about design excellence a lot. That is the goal. But in order to achieve design excellence, there must be sustainable thought integrated throughout the process and in the outcome.
What is sustainability in the built environment? It considers both physical and non-physical ideals. It deals with thousands of both simple and complex decisions. It is the celebration of life, the reverence for the natural world, and the deference to the existing while looking ahead and utilizing new technologies to ensure stewardship to all life on our planet, now and into the future.
So the AIA, or the American Institute of Architects, they've outlined this succinct framework that it marries the concept of sustainability with the idea of design excellence. And so this is a really handy guide. I encourage anybody to look it up for further reading. But at Ratio, our goal is to at least reference these principles throughout the project process.
Now we're going to take you through the design process. We've developed 8 key phases, both during the project and after. So to start off, we wanted to talk a little bit about project pursuit. It's important that you assemble the right team, a team who values and is familiar with sustainability techniques and methods.
And as far as the client aspect, it's really important to research what aspects of sustainability will resonate with them so that you can begin to develop the story for the project and then bring them along in the development of that concept.
The project isn't only about the client, but it's also about the community and the environment. Therefore, it's important to look at the project's potential environmental impact and also begin to understand how your project can contribute to the community. It's also good to develop a list of stakeholders and key community members.
So the next phase, the concept design or programming, where we really gather all the information, you're going to hear this throughout. It's important to have a sustainability kickoff meeting and then to reference that throughout. And here you're going to begin to develop your sustainability and your project goals. And it's also really important to weave those into your design concepts so that those goals cannot be value engineered out.
And in terms of meeting with the client, it's important to ask the right questions early on. At Ratio, we've developed a performance and wellness guide that has all of the different components of sustainability for your project. And this has helped us to be able to have these questions and to pinpoint specific items and goals that the client wants to take on from an operational standpoint. The project team can also then go back and utilize this performance and wellness guide throughout the project to ensure that they are meeting the sustainability goals, and then also just sharing your experiences and knowledge with the client.
And then from a community and environment standpoint, this is a good time to conduct stakeholder or community outreach workshops, try to get input and relate the project to their needs and the site, and then start to explore the project site and the cultural and environmental history so that the project can fit and be contextual.
So the next phase is schematic design, and this is where you really start to dive into the details. So from an internal project team standpoint, you're going to want to have that checkpoint meeting to review the sustainability goals again. You're also going to be able to begin conducting energy and daylight modeling, and then you're going to work very closely with your consultants to understand what systems that can be utilized for the project from a budget standpoint, and then also from a goal standpoint.
And then from a client standpoint, you're going to continue to explore context, continue to gain an understanding about their sustainability goals and get their buy-in so that they are really feeling it as much as the project team is. And it's really important to share whatever information that we find throughout this process so that they can make the right decisions and that they can balance the first cost with the long-term value or return on investment, ROI.
You're also going to want to meet with the community and stakeholders again. At this point, you'll have a lot more information that you can share with them on the status of the project. And it's always good just to, incorporate people around you and to get further buy-in, but then also, learn what it is that they like and what they don't like. Also, at this point, you're going to want to consider embodied carbon and renewables, as well as find opportunities to improve human and environmental health.
Design development. So internally, you're going to organize your sustainability checkpoint meeting. Once again, make sure you're meeting those goals. You're going to do energy and water analysis and continue to refine that. You're going to think about the human aspects, so consider thermal and daylight comfort, as well as any specific acoustical treatments that are going to also impact the human comfort. And then also make sure that you are picking materials that utilize your design principles that support toxicity reduction, so red list free materials.
Furthermore, within design development, you are going to get more and more into the details and the specifics. So it's going to be very important that you review all of these different options with the client. And then you're going to also want to review materials with them and inform them on the environmental impact. Then kind of within that thread, when you are reviewing your materials in the various systems, you're going to want to consider the life cycle cost analysis, or the LCA. And basically what this is it looks at a material's life from all the way from extracting from the earth to making it into whatever material it is, transportation to the site, continuing then on to whether or not it's either landfilled at end of life or if it can be reused. Also, what you're going to want to consider for materials is with the industry right now, just due to the complexity of how these so many different materials are made, we are asking a lot of industry manufacturers to be transparent and to post what exactly is in these materials. So things like HPDs and EPDs are what you're going to want to look for and try to give priority when selecting materials.
On to construction documents. So internally, you're going to organize your sustainability meeting again, make sure you're meeting those goals and you're not off track. Specifications. So when you actually make those specifications, you need to integrate the sustainable design requirements throughout the project manual. Do your performance checks, quality control, and then make sure that you design for flexibility and disassembly. So there's DFDA principles, again, good resource, look it up. But you need to consider the future uses or the social, economic, and environmental changes that this building might go through. So basically, don't design something so rigid that you have to demolish it for it to change functions.
And during the construction design, or I'm sorry, the construction document process, your meeting with the client is going to be less and less than it was earlier in the project. So during this phase, really, you're just there to inform the client, make sure that they're aware of any changes that might happen in the construction document phase. You're also going to begin to coordinate a commissioning plan for them for after construction.
And then from a community environment standpoint, just do meaningful design, be thoughtful in your details, and make sure that the design overall is timeless and makes a positive impact.
So this is really the last, or this is, really one of the last phases this is construction administration. And so this is the building actually being constructed. And this is also one of the last times that you have as a team to really make sure that the sustainability goals are met. So you will be reviewing a lot of submittals that you'll look back to the document and the original sustainability goals. And then you're also going to want to closely collaborate with the contractors and the people who are on site building the project if there is an unforeseen condition that comes up. A lot of times they're the ones in the field. They know kind of, the different ins and outs and ways to build things. So working with them is critical when you have, budgets and deadlines.
Yep. And during CA, you are meeting less with the client, but it's important to keep in mind you are the client advocate. So make sure that you are communicating still and making sure that their sustainability goals are being executed while being built. And then another thing that you can do is develop an operations and maintenance guide. So if you are having certain materials or certain building systems that the client needs to know how to maintain or how to operate so that everything that you built into the project will actually function as efficiently as we want it to.
And during construction administration, it's a messy process. So it's important that the contractor and all of their subs, keep in contact with the adjacent neighbors, just making sure that they're aware of, the construction schedule and time frame. And then also it's important that they execute a construction waste management plan.
All right, project closeout. So internally, once again, check in, make sure that the project is still on track and meeting those goals. If applicable, you're going to monitor your building system metrics, make sure again that the building is performing that in the way that you established early on. And then make sure that you track and report the project metrics. This is especially important, I guess, for all firms, but at Ratio, we are involved in the 2030 commitment or the 2030 challenge to reduce carbon emissions 100% by 2030. So it's really important to track at the end of a project, did you meet that goal, and what percent you reduce carbon emissions so that you can improve for the next time, and then hopefully in the end have zero.
Also at project closeout, this is when you're going to deliver the operations and maintenance guide that you had created earlier in the project. You're also going to offer any additional training. So they are completely familiar with all of the new systems that they have now received with the new building. So another thing that we like to do, similar to monitoring the building, we actually also want to know how the occupancies feel in the space. So this is where we might conduct a post-occupancy survey and a client satisfaction survey.
And similarly with the community and the environment, you can conduct an indoor air quality survey to make sure the human health aspects of the project goals are met. And it's also important that you just make sure that all of the intentions of the project are realized and that the building performance can improve over time.
So this last phase here isn't necessarily a part of a traditional project phase, but it is something that we wanted to touch on. So this is continuing initiatives. And basically, it's just making sure that, you know, with all of the projects that you complete, you have an information systems and management set up to where you can collect all of the data that you are collecting throughout your different projects. So, and then from that, you can further your research and development. And then you can also then do a knowledge transfer within the organization to make sure everyone is aware and kind of brought up to speed with, you know, what it is that we are doing as far as sustainability goes.
Yeah, and similarly, you know, you can share this information with the client so that everybody can continue to improve the sustainability goals in the design process. And also make sure you take that knowledge forward on future projects and with future clients, and with the same client, maybe on future projects.
And then from a community and environmental standpoint, one thing that we at Ratio try to do is we do try to give back with, you know, community day services and, you know, working with kids. And then we also try to forge strategic relationships, whether that's with a higher education university where we can, you know, maybe tap into some additional research and development, or even find a potential client.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's all we have for you today.
10 minutes. That was a fast run through, but I think it's just important to remember that the design process is fun. There's a lot of thought in it, and sustainability does not have to be a separate topic. It can be woven into the design story.
Thanks so much for your time, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a great
Enjoy.
weekend.